Hello guys, and welcome to a new episode of Let's Create a Melody. This is going to be episode 3, and today we're going to be creating another big group melody just to kind of get more into the habit of using the theories I explained in the last video. If you haven't seen the last video, I created a Let's Create a Melody episode 2 after creating episode 1 like few months ago. So today we're going to be using the bank from KSADE, which is part of the Evolution of Sound team. If you don't know what the Evolution of Sound, it's a group of producers. We run a podcast and we have big plans for it. Right now we're releasing a lot of free stuff, and our plan in the future is to turn it into a label so you guys can release your music in there. So we'll have contests with the podcast. Whoever gets submission of the month will get a free release on Beatport. And we'll also be creating a lot of construction kits, sound banks for sale. But right now we're giving them all away for free, as a thanks to you guys for supporting us on our channels, our individual channels. So this bank is going to be up for free download on EOS in the next coming weeks. We have a free bank coming out soon though. It's going to be Massive vs. Silent 1, made by me, Senworld, and FL Studio RMK. So without further ado, let's get started. So today we are going to be using the D minor scale. Like I told you guys before, it's important to stick into one scale, because then if you start going into different scales, it starts sounding really off key, and that's not what you want. And in big room house, it's generally good to stay in a minor scale. You can go into happy scales, but minor scales tend to be a little bit more, you know, what's in right now. They're because the melodies aren't as happy. They sound more epic, more emotional, and minors are going to give you that. So we're going to be using a D minor scale. And we're going to start off with the root note. And as always, we're going to be using D. We're not going to be doing that much trial and error just to save a lot of time. But trial and error gives you the best melodies, because sometimes you can play notes not in the scale and they still sound good. Okay, so we're going to start off with a D. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this up an octave, and we're going to get the third of D. So you're going to count 1, 2, 3. The third of D is going to be F. So we have this. Let's put it up an octave. Oops, moved it. Let me get it again. Put it down, shift up. There we go. So here we have the sound. Let's get rid of it. So let's get straight to it. So we're gonna do doon doon. So first things first, like always, I always find the rhythm with the chords that we're gonna be using, which are the D, the D triad. So let's see, what can we do? Let's put it in narrowest, so we got a lot of mobility. Do there. So let's make the length into 8. Actually, let's make it far. 9. There we go. And let's just zoom in. And there we go. Let's move. Let's try this. So I like that rhythm. Alright, so let's say you can't find a rhythm. My biggest suggestion is going to be, if you guys buy sample packs, sometimes you have MIDIs that come with them. Now, a lot of people always ask me if it's okay to use those, or if it's okay to use the melodies in my videos. And all I'm going to tell you guys is it's okay as long as you modify it. Sometimes when I can't come up with a rhythm, what I do is I go through those sample packs and I look for the catchiest one that I like, the rhythm, how fast it is, and so forth, and I get it, but I make it into the melody I had in my head. So I get the rhythm, and then I put the notes to where I want them, like the melody in my head, because sometimes creating these rhythms takes a while, so, or you just don't know how to get that rhythm, so you go looking for those midis, and whichever one does it, you use it, but make sure it's your own melody. Don't use the melody straight out. A lot of people have sent in submissions to Evo, and they sound exactly like some of the midis I've gone through whenever I'm looking for inspiration. So remember, use those for inspiration. If you want to use them for tracks, by all means do it, but you know, you better do something amazing, or else I'm just gonna scroll through and be like, oh fuck, you know, took the easy way out. All right, so we have here a very cool rhythm. So now we're gonna keep it going. So let's see, what can we get? So I'm gonna try not use the MIDI keyboard that much. So we're going to go to the A, which is right here. And then we're going to put the third of A. So I'm not liking how it sounds because it's going too high. It's going too high up. Sorry about that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower this back down to here. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the fifth of A. So I'm going to go up 3 more. So C, D, and then E. So I'm going to use this. So there, now it sounds good. So remember, you can use the third, the fifth, the seventh, and then repeat. So here I'm going to do sort of like a, I like to call it a gate, sort of. So let's see if we can pull it off. Since it's there, we'll do here. Let's see if this works. So it'll work like that. Okay, cool. And then we're going to go into something else. Let's see. So D sounds, let's see. So we're going to do this. So let's find the third one. Down 1 2 1 2 3. So I don't like it. We'll use the fifth too. 1. We'll be there. Here's the third. Let's go up. So there we have a standard one, just a chord. So now we're going to move the top notes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this, and then I'm going to make the top layer with a different sound. So we're going to have those going. So these are my top notes that I can change around. So there we have it. So I'm going to use another preset from the bank he made. So let's see. Kind of like, I think I like the sound. Alright, so let's start making that melody. So let's see. I'm gonna use my keyboard for this, just for the hell of it. Kinda like that. Or we can approach it from the top if we wanted to. Let's move this to the fifth. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep this like that, and I'm going to add a pitch bend instead. So, oops, wrong one again. We got to go to the MIDI control. We're going to use a pitch bend there. So do that there. Let's try this. Too much? Let's do that. So I like that. Let's go back to the, kind of don't like this melody, so let's try this. We're gonna keep the same thing about the same idea of going down instead of the scale, so it sounds kind of familiar. So we're gonna keep these notes the same here. So let's do this. And then we'll move this down to D, and then we'll move this, instead of that, we'll move back up and hit this note. but instead of there, we'll go here. Alright, so now this one's sounding too, this one's kind of interfering with this sound, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower this down an octave. Now we're going to put this up. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this one into 8 instead of 4. So we can add the resolution. Now, for those of you who don't know about music theory, what the resolution is that one note at the end that kind of tells you, okay, the melody's done. And it's going to be like done. It's like, let's say you're having sex, and we'll use that analogy, and you're having sex with your girlfriend, and then she comes and she's like, it's done. So then you're like, oh, and you get like, let's just say you get mad, blah, blah. Well, you haven't had your resolution. You haven't had the finish. So we're going to add the resolution here, and the easiest way to do this most of the time is just to either play the third of the roof note or play the fifth or play the roof note itself. So I'm going to show you guys right now. So we're going to have this the same, and then at the end, we're going to turn this into D instead. Here it comes. So you can hear dun dun, and that's the resolution dun dun instead of dun 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 dun, and it repeats, you know. Alright, so I'm liking the way it's going so far. Obviously it's not gonna be like a fucking Tomorrowland melody, but we're trying to get there. So let's start adding layers. Okay, so here what we have is pretty much a D, and we have the third of D up here at the F. And generally, like whenever you play a piano, if you ever play some of the lower notes and you play like the third of D at the bottom, it sounds really muddy. So what you do is you open it up so you can play the fifth, which will not sound muddy. So here we have a D, so we're gonna do the fifth, and again the way you find them is you count D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The D minor scale is gonna be D, E, F, G, A sharp, C, and then D, and then you can always change the C into a C sharp, which turns it into a devil kind of evilish scale. All right, so let's see how it sounds like now. Cool. So what we're gonna do is we are gonna play the fifth. We already have it, so we're gonna put the third, 2, 3 up here, and then we're gonna do the third of this one, 1, 2, 3 up here, and then we're gonna do the third of this one, 3, which is we already have it. So 1. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll do the last one, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes it's not gonna work as well as you want it to work, but it's gonna sometimes it does because it's the theory, and yeah, sorry, someone just came into my room, so I was like, I'm working. So let's see, so what can we do? So we're gonna solo this. Let's make sure the voices are up to 8, and then we'll do. I think it was this note. Cool. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna change this the release on this one to kind of make it a little bit more stabby, because it's dragging along too much. And let's see, we're gonna lower this, put this there, and lower this. Like cue this. Alright, so now I'm gonna start changing it up because it's an 8-bar melody now. So I'm gonna start changing the second portion down. So we have 4 bars, then we have another 4. So let's add some variation here. So instead of here going like this, we're gonna move this up. So instead of like the other one. Dun dun. It sounds better up here, I think. Now we're just gonna add that pitch bend every 2 bars. So you pretty much the way you do this is you're gonna hold it like this and you Control D it all the way. Alright, cool. So now we have that. So if you want to layer more melodies, then it's possible to do it. So this is something that I do when I layer more melodies. I kind of hear it, and in my head I'm thinking of a new melody to put. So I'm gonna duplicate this one more time, and then I'm gonna do this via MIDI because I can't do this just through the piano roll. So let's find a lead. And let's see what we can find. We're gonna lower the glide a bit. Cool, so let's use that just because. Alright, so in my head that kind of sounds good just to add a layer to it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna find a good patch for it, and we're gonna think of patch. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna get the chords instead, because they're kind of spread out, and we're gonna do what I just did. Okay, so kind of played that on my keyboard. I like the way it sounded, so da na na. Just going up the scale. It's too low, and it has too much of a release. So let's try some. Alright, cool. Let's just use that for now to save time. Dun, 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 dun. There we go. I was just trying to fix that. Let's try and fix this one. All right. And pretty much we're gonna have the same thing. Alright, Alright, so I like the way that sounds. So we just need to find like a sound for it that works, you know? Alright, so pretty much that's the the melody already. I don't want to spend too much time, but as you guys saw, I used the theory way, and it worked to create a catchy, simple melody. And from there on, you know, you start building on it. Like, the last thing I was gonna do, I was just gonna put festival claps, which I use a lot in my tracks, and it's like it's this. You just add it here, and just do that. Alright, so I would call it the end of the tutorial, but I did get asked a question by I think it was a comment either or a message via Facebook or a comment on YouTube. They asked me how would you transition to a breakdown from this? So there's a couple of ways to do it. The easiest and most standard way a lot of people do it is this way, which I'm going to do it real fast, and it's pretty much the most fastest way. So let's say you're a touring DJ. This is the fastest way to do your build-up, so you would probably have it like set up like this, right? Watch. So this is pretty much your melody. So we're gonna layer this out. So I'm gonna turn this into a pluck. So what you do, it's either two things you can do. One, you can repeat this part, the first part of your melody here, this one. Just control, like do this. And then you just do it for all of them. So you just have this. And you can even have this going. And then you cut it after four of these bars, you start cutting it in half. And then from there, you get to decide how many times. So just remember, keep it an even number. Just cut this in half like that. Actually, we'll save that for the end. There. Like that, and then probably cut this in half too, and then the last one, cut it in half. You're gonna do Control J, and then you're gonna go inside, and you can add pitch if you want. So usually I just do this. Make sure it goes back down in Ableton, because then Ableton keeps it high pitched. It doesn't know you want it to go back down. That's why sometimes you have those problems, but here we go. And then last one here. And then you're gonna just add effects and make your claps do it too. So let's not be lazy, and let's do the claps before I end this video. So if you guys haven't left, you know, fuck. Okay, so we'll just do this real fast, and then we'll go in, do this, and then we'll cut it in half one last time. Let's see how it sounds like. Okay, so that's the end of the tutorial. Eventually we'll get into making drops, but that's Let's Create a Melody episode 3. Hopefully it wasn't that long. I don't even know how long it is, and I hope you guys learned some new things. If you guys like these tutorials, that's always make sure to comment below that say I want more of these episodes. And I hope you guys like my Facebook page. Make sure you like the Evolution of Sound page. The only reason I'm making this tutorial is in correlation with that page, because we got some plans planned out for you guys, and we want to get you guys up to par so you guys can start releasing your own huge tracks. Anyways, guys, I'll see you guys next time.